back to another edition of Just in Time for Sports. Today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite segments, one of my favorite pieces. We're going to break down the USC 2021 season. Everybody says they have a good, favorable schedule, but we'll see when they're put to the test against what was supposed to be originally UC Davis, but they're going to be playing San Jose State. So we'll see how they are. Remember, let us all remember, San Jose State is coming off a Mountain West victory against Boise State, 34-20. So that maybe they have a couple more players, a couple of returning players. They haven't made that contention for the Mountain West Conference in a long time. So we'll see what happens. But let us also factor in USC has junior now, Keaton Slovis. I'm not really sold on him, but we'll see how he does. We'll see how he plays. We'll see how his action is, how his play action, body language, how his play calling is. Let's see if he can actually change it up against a pretty favorable schedule, where many people are saying to go undefeated possibly, or maybe even 2 losses at the most. Honestly, I think they're going to end up with 1, but we'll keep talking about that. San Jose State is, like I said, one of the main teams in the Mountain West Conference with Boise State, Hawaii, San Jose State, San Diego State, all those schools. But let's see what can happen with those coming up. 4th place, they did earn 4th place in 2019, so we will see what can happen after that. September 11th is Stanford. Stanford did lose Paulson Adebo, Walker Little. Walker Little is the offensive lineman, but he did suffer many injuries, so he's only played about 2 games in the past 2 seasons. So we'll see how that goes. But Paulson Adebo is one of the top corners. We'll see how high he gets drafted in this 2021 draft. No Davis Mills, but David Shaw always plays it tough with USC Trojans and Clay Helton. We'll see again how Clay Helton can fare with the other up north team up north, and Stanford Cardinals. They always seem to give us a run in the Pac-12 conference, no matter what the situation may be, whether it's in the season or even in the bowl games. But we'll see how it all fares out. No Davis Mills, we'll see what the quarterback situation looks like, but Keaton Slovis is always a question, especially with new running backs, new receivers coming in. I would say that the running back room is pretty much the same room. You got Malapaya coming back, you got Stephen Carr coming back, you got a whole from Kentucky, or from Texas, my bad. You got Texas running back Deontay Robinson, and then you also got a whole young group of wide receivers, whether it's Jake London, whether it's sophomore Jake London, whether it's Kyron Ware-Hudson from Mater Dei, whether it's Michael Jackson from Vegas. Just those other guys who will step in, who will be that one solid role. You also got 5'8" KD Nixon from Colorado, 5'8" slot receiver. We'll see how it mixes up with Graham Harrell. We'll see how he uses the offense. Will he run the ball more? Let's see, how will that offensive line look without Elijah Vera Tucker? Now moving on to September 18th, you got Washington State. Everybody says that could be a potential close game, but let's see how it was last season with Jaden Delora. I mean, they weren't able to make him look that good, but last season Washington State did miss a lot of games. They were also 5th Pac-12 North with a 1-3 record. 1-3 record considering they weren't able to play the 7 games they were played last year. This year it's going to be 12 games pretty much for everybody. Let's see how they can stay healthy. Nick Rolovich, Clay Helton's pretty much got that number pretty down. I don't think it'll be a problem for USC handling it. Those would be 3 pretty easy wins. We'll see how the Stanford situation fares out. Can San Jose actually bounce back? We'll see. We'll see how Washington State can pull back and play that vengeance game. Now moving on to September 25th. So far I have USC at 3-0. So we'll see how it works. Let's see how Keaton Slovis can actually keep that positive composure. Now that he's a junior, let's see how he'll look confidently facing against these so-called quote-unquote easier teams. September 25th, you got Oregon State. Oregon State always seems that UCLA backup, that USC backup, just like how it is UCLA against USC. That Oregon backup. So we'll see how. I think it's an easy W. Probably at least 3 touchdowns, which is probably about 20 or more points. Again, like usual, I think USC will find how their defensive game. I mean, you got Corey Foreman actually also playing early, coming in. You got Rajon Davis. You got a whole Southwest SoCal coming in. You got Modern Day. You got Centennial. All these guys coming in. With Elijah Griffin coming out, we'll see who's actually coming in that cornerback role. Can Castile come up? Can Isaiah Taylor Stewart come up? Or will it be another player coming up? How will the defense fare? Let's see how it all works out. You got EZW. Moving on to the beginning of October, like I said, right now I have USC at possible 4-0. We'll see how it all looks right now. October 2 comes a little tougher, I would say. This team always seems to give USC a little bit of a problem, but USC comes out in the end. Let's see, Colorado against Colorado Buffaloes. I mean, USC stole Colorado's chance for KD Nixon, 5'8" slot receiver, to play along Jake London now. We'll see how that fares out. Last year, you all remember Tyler Vaughn's coming up clutch, that skinny body of his, coming up clutch with touchdowns in the end of the game. 4 seasons with Colorado. I mean, KD Nixon got 1 more year remaining. We'll see about that. We'll see how it all fares out. But they have a good coaching staff. They have a good defensive-minded coaching staff. But SC's been able to take away some transfers from whether it's Alabama, whether it's Texas, or like I said, Colorado. KD Nixon, this is his last eligible season. Will he actually play it like he means it? Will teams and scouts in the NFL, will they actually look at a last season transfer? I mean, he's staying in the same Pac-12 conference. Pac-12 South to be even exact. But we'll see how it all fares out. Will Keaton or will Graham Harrell use him like a slot receiver? Or will he use him like a regular receiver? I want to see how it all fares out. Will he even use him as a running back? I mean, there's so many questions coming into this. USC has all their running backs, like I said, coming back into the running back room, just like it's anything else. But to have all 5 or possibly even 4 running backs coming in, true freshmen, true sophomores, redshirt juniors, redshirt seniors, whatever the case may be, the fact that they've been on this field before in the Coliseum, possibly with some fans coming back, maybe, who knows, maybe they do want to play with that. Maybe that's what KD Nixon does want to experience. So far, I have USC at 5-0, so we'll see what it has. But I think Colorado will give them the toughest run, quote-unquote toughest run. But we'll see how it fares out. Now, October 9th, possibly I can see them losing this one. I don't know why. I don't have anything reason. Let's just let the game speak for itself. October 9th against Utah. Utah Utes always give them trouble. Kyle Whittingham. When I say I didn't want Clay Helton to continue to be the coach, the defensive staff, like Dante Williams, always does their best to make him look good. So, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and let's see how he does this year coming in with the new stacked defense. I'm really looking forward to this defense. I'm not really looking forward to Keaton Slovis. I really hope a guy like Miller Moss bounces him over and actually uses that arm. But I like Drake London to see what he has. I like Malapai. Hopefully he can stay healthy, like I said, but let's go back to it. Kyle Whittingham, I wanted him to replace Clay Helton. So with that being said, I really like the coaching matchup against here. But they have a whole group of receivers. Let's see how their defense, young cornerbacks step up. Let's see how the quarterback situation steps up. I mean, with a 3-2 record last year, who knows? Who knows how they did last year? With the 3-2 record, I mean, they were obviously, if you think about it, missed those 2 games last year due to COVID. Nobody really fares in with this pandemic, but I mean, let's see, with the 3-2 record, now with 12 games coming up, can they actually stay healthy? Can they actually build a team? With Kyle Whittingham, I think they can do somewhat, but let's tally it up to say that's the only loss for USC at the end of the day. Alright. So here we go. USC's heading into the bye week. USC's got no Friday games this year out of all 12 games. So they head into the bye week. They head into the bye week with a 1 loss. Is that a good thing? Heading into a loss into the bye week? Is that a good thing? We'll see how it all plays out. But I think it is. I think Clay Helton will be okay. I think Dante Williams he's as the associate head coach role coming from Oregon, SoCal guy, knowing how to recruit players. I think he does. I think he'll do a fine job. Heading into the bye week, I think Graham Harrell this year, I think they can all actually figure it out. Just spend time with their family, spend time with what they can do. But let's see what they can do. Heading into the bye week, like I said, 1 loss. It's not the best, but like I said, with all 12 games coming up, I would say that's the only loss. So, Good for good. Here we go. October 23rd against Notre Dame. Everybody says Notre Dame doesn't deserve it. Doesn't deserve to be this so high. Remember, 2020 season. It came down to a college football playoff. Who earned that 4 seed? Who earned the 4 seed? It was Notre Dame. Should it have been? To be honest, yes. It should have been them. People say Texas A&M, people say Florida, people say Florida State, people say Cincinnati just because they earned that high bid because of their impressive record. But at the end of the day, you think Texas A&M will really beat Alabama once again, like a fair game in a big game like this? I mean, Brian Kelly probably deserved a little bit of credit to come up that high, but let's see what happens. I mean, they have no Ian Book no more. Clay Elton does have a 1-5 record against Notre Dame. It is over there in South Bend, Indiana. I think they can do it with the receivers coming, with the running back coming. Like I said, no Ian Book. Keaton Slovis, maybe he'll get bailed out by a couple of his players. Maybe defense, maybe new defensive line, new defensive end rushers can come up and rush the new quarterback, make them look a little bit nervous. We will see how Brian Kelly fares out. Can Clay Helton actually step up? I think he can find just a little bit. It'll be a close game. Maybe game-winning field goal. Maybe game-winning touchdown. I mean, honestly, like I said, I think they were deserving of the top 4 in the 2020 season. But with that being said, I got USC taking this close W. But let's see how it fares out again. So we got right now we got 5-1. Heading into October 30th. I mean, Arizona. Let's kick it off again with a win again. Arizona, no win. Alright, so they just fired Kevin Sumlin. They got Jed Fish. Jed Fish has an impressive coaching resume coming from Bill Belichick's staff recently as a quarterback's coach, coming from Steve Spurrier, coming from Sean McVay with the Rams in the NFC Championship game a couple years ago. I mean, he has an impressive resume, so we will see how it fares out. I mean, you fired Kevin Sumlin. They almost had DeMarco Murray as their running backs coach, but he went to Oklahoma. So new coaching staff, new quarterback, no Khalil Tate. They also got the defensive coordinator from Michigan, if y'all remember, Don Brown. Old guy, but he may know his stuff. We will see how it fares out coming from, the Big Ten to the Pac-12. I mean, we'll see. Arizona's never really been such a limelight, but you're coming from a whole new culture now. Jed Fish got a little bit of offensive-minded, coming from quarterback-minded, coming from defensive minds. I mean, we'll see. I'm interested to see because I like coaches with good coaching resume, coaching experience. We'll see how it fares out. With that being said, like I said, the only loss so far is against Utah. Maybe at best, they might not even lose to Utah, but they might beat Kyle Whittingham. Somebody may come up with that clutch rushing touchdown. Somebody come up with that rush tight end touchdown. We will see how it all fares out. So with that being said, November 6th against Arizona State. Let's kick it off with the Notre Dame 3 wins in a row. Notre Dame, Arizona State. I want to hear what you guys have to say about all of these games so far. With that being said, Arizona State may be close. I really like the coaching staff. You got Herm Edwards, Antonio Pierce, impressive coaching staff. Antonio Pierce is like Dante Williams. Knows how to recruit, knows how to play defense, knows how to strategize. I mean, just think about it. Long Beach Poly, Herm Edwards, NFL experience. What more can you ask for? Jaden Daniels? I mean, I'm not really sold on him, obviously, not yet. But he's tall. From SoCal, San Bernardino, El Cajon High. I mean, we'll see. He's got height. He's got vision. They put up a run. They put up a run last year, first game of the season. Y'all remember that? Keaton Slovis threw a game-winning touchdown. And when I say game-winning, I mean game-winning with the last second. Right in the pocket. Right in the pocket to, I believe, Drake London. But we'll see about that. Drake London has a lot to prove this season with his height. Sophomore year coming in. Supposed to be on the basketball team, but we'll see about that too. But you got Drake London supposed to be the number 1 guy. Can he be that number 1 guy? Can he be that dependable guy? Or are we going to play it by committee? We will see how it goes. But at the end of the day, that is how it goes. I believe Arizona State is the Pac-12 dark horse, no matter what it is, north or south. And with that being said, let's move on to the next game. One loss only so far, going to Utah. Arizona State will probably be close again. I think it'll be close again, but we'll see how it fares out. So with that being said, let's move on to Cal. They got Justin Wilcox, coaching 21 years so far, 2021. He used to coach for USC, but I don't think they have enough offensively. Maybe defensively, maybe a little bit. But I don't think offensively they have enough to keep up with USC's probably. I have USC averaging about 30 points a game this year. You can comment down below if you think I'm really rough, if you think I'm really far off. But we'll see. Like I said, we're just going to sweep away just like how it was like with Washington State. We're just going to say Cal's going to be an easy loss. Sorry, guys. Like I said, okay. So here goes down to my favorite one. My favorite one, the game everybody looks forward to. November 20th, USC versus UCLA. Now, is it going to be a close game? It's going to be a shootout like how it has been the past few years. Yes, UCLA is losing Demetric Felton. Yes, UCLA has Chip Kelly. But can Chip Kelly really have that system going for him? Does he really look like he'll be okay? But at the end of the day, DTR is back. You got Ethan Garbers coming from Washington, Chancery from Washington, SoCal kid, Corona Del Mar kid. You just got all these guys coming. Yes, you lost Demetric Felton, but what other guys are going to step up for UCLA? Is it because it's a rivalry? Is it because it's a SoCal Westward product? Is it Westward versus LA? How is it going to look like? What is it officially going to look like? Is it going to live up to its hype? So I'm saying USC by probably 10 points. So with that being said, still, if anything, that one loss. I really don't want to say USC has more than 2 losses. So we'll see how it goes. And with that being said, I still have to be convinced by them. So we'll see what happens. Let's move on to November 27th, the last game of the season finale. The BYU Cougars. Now, the question is, Kalani Sitake likes to run the ball. But how can you run the ball when there's no more Zach Wilson? Will he go back to the run game? What are they going to do without Zach Wilson? Could you say they got the hype? Without him? Let's see how it looks now. Let's see how it looks without Zach Wilson. Let's see how it looks. How will Sitake run the ball? With that being said, I like USC's defensive line. I like USC's defensive pressure. I think they'll be okay. No matter what they do. Whether it's a blitz, whether it's a man-to-man coverage. I think they'll do okay. I think it'll be close. Probably about 1 touchdown. Just because BYU's running on that hot reputation. Whether it's a new quarterback. So, like I said, with USC going possibly 11-1, let's hope for the best and say 11-1, 12-0. Let's hope for the best and not see USC lose against Utah. Let's see them probably beat Utah and possibly beat Notre Dame. Let's see how Notre Dame looks in South Bend with no Ian Book and BYU with no Zach Wilson. How's that all going to fare out? But then again, let's see how Keaton Slovis is going to look. Keaton Slovis is facing new receivers, new quarterbacks somewhat, maybe, in Cal or BYU or Notre Dame. But the question is always going to be, USC's got to take care of business itself. So I want to hear what you guys have to say. Thank you guys, and go ahead and comment below, please, and subscribe if you want to hear more. Thank you guys.